Alright, this should be interesting because I really suck at, I guess, being my own cameraman and trying to put all this together in the briefest as well as most concise way possible. What I'm going to show you first is X-ray that led to my suspicions of having an implant at the base of my skull. The reason why this X-ray became suspect is I had taken my X-rays with me to an appointment with a specialist down at UC San Francisco. I believe his name was a Dr. Yi, Chinese, I believe. Somehow my X-rays came up missing for about 3 months. Then all of a sudden he found them sitting behind his desk. Whether he misplaced them or somebody else did, who's to say? I'm not the doctor, am I? I'm not a person that works in his office. So I got curious and I took a look at my X-rays when I got home before I took them back to the hospital that stores them where they were taken. After all that, they kind of gave me my X-rays and said they would be probably safer in my possession. Obviously, because they haven't gotten lost. So here, I'm going to show you why. And yeah, this is how detailed I get at looking at something when I do put the effort into it. That's why I try to curtail that part of me in things. You know, I can turn it on and off, kind of thing. Let me see if I can get this to where you can see it. Yeah, right there at that spot, right there, there's a little loop that goes around that uppermost vertebrae. And then, if I keep looking down here, you see in the lower spinal area, look at those. All in the lower spinal area. Now, further investigation, you know, I'm sure there might be, I don't know anatomy that well. But one thing I do know are those particular vertebrae, well, they control things like your bowels and other things. So yeah, you can just hit a button, make me take a crap kind of thing, I guess. I guess that would also help them getting me to go on whatever. Now these, let's see, where are these loops? Yeah, there's these like weird loops. See that? And then there's, yeah, that one right there. See, and then it runs down. And they got me kind of, what is that? Is that what's coming out of, transient implants, huh? So that first one I showed you was taken in 2002 after I had gotten back here from an injury in Nebraska. Same day that injury occurred, I had gotten a ride from an Air Force officer in an official vehicle. I guess he couldn't tolerate seeing me walking in the desert, I don't know. And then these are all from 2009. Yeah, it's 2 sets. They're 6 months apart. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the differences as well as why they're different. This one, I believe, is possibly different because of the positioning of my head and or it was photoshopped. I think I found one that was, I'd have to look for it though. This one, if you can see on the left side, there is no implant. But if you look at the one that does show the implant, this one, see if I can do this. You can see that I don't want to put my fingers right on the image area. If you can see, it discolors it if you look at where I hold it. See, this light is sucky. I had it. See, I gotta... This is funny how I'm having to juggle this all around. That right there, yeah, it, here, this will be easier for me to, I should have forethought this, huh? Anyways, at the base of the skull, it's not as flat as it shows in this one. That was taken 6 months earlier. On this one, however, you can see how this runs up there. That loop that I showed you that would go up near the temple area. So yeah, that could all be, I guess, yeah, that's probably why I notice certain things. And then there's certain, like, yeah. And then if I were to look at my ribs within the 6 months, these areas right here, anyways, yeah. I could probably go on for hours looking at these and trying to figure them out. This one is from another angle. As you can see, the implant is right there. It is a completely different angle, and there. That's of my skull. So that shows you that it's not because I had some kind of jewelry or something in my mouth or any number of things, because, you know, while I'm sure people could figure out how to fake something like this without the, what do they call those guys, X-ray technicians, knowing that it was being faked. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put these away real quick so that they're nice and safe. And, well, I'll get right back to this. Alright, so that's a little bit more about the X-rays. What else can I say about them other than what I already have? I guess I'm doing this so that it can be in more of a condensed format, so that you have the evidence, the proof right there. It's not just a picture at the start of a video. You're actually seeing the X-rays in my hands, showing them to you, as well as those other spots where, you know, I mentioned the transient implants. Now my question is what's this all about? Came back to this area injured. How much, you know, anyways. So there's bleed through memories. There's also memories of stuff that I am still trying to figure out how I was in two places at once. How I saw news footage here in the States, yet also have bleed through memories of being there. So yeah, you know, I've considered, you know, the possibility of some type of remote viewing or psychic something or other. But with all this other stuff, I'm kind of like wondering, you know. Wow, my streak shows up nicely on camera. Anyways, yeah, it's weird. It's not really a gray streak. It's more like it's just where my hair parts naturally. Yeah, kind of cool, huh? Anyways, where was I going with all that? Oh yeah, the bleed through memories that I don't like to talk about. The reason why I don't like talking about them is because I'm not 100% sure. And I don't like claiming something that I'm not, or something that I did or did not do, whether it's good or bad. I learned somewhere as a young man, a young boy, a little boy, a baby, maybe before birth, who knows. How do they put it? It's better to be hated for who you are than loved for who you're not. Or something like that. Yeah. I don't remember it exactly, but yeah, it's basically what it is. I would rather have the freedom to be myself, and then you can decide, rather than you trying to make me conform to whatever it is you think I am, or how I should be because of what I am. Maybe what I am cannot be unless you're like me. See? Oh, there's my water boiling. I better get back to this after I get my coffee. Yeah, I love my coffee, but I can do without it. But I start moving way too fast without coffee. No, I'm not ADHD either, just to alleviate that one. So let me tell you about a ride I got hitchhiking 20 years ago in October, towards the end, or was it in November? Anyways, this person that was, I guess, around my grandmother's age or my grandparents' age, picked me up in a minivan. There was like a bunch of floral stuff in there. On the rearview mirror was hanging a security clearance card for like a scientist, I guess, something along those lines, to go on a military base and do whatever work they were doing, or wherever. Well, this person was on their way up to Canada delivering computer disks. So somehow, oh, and they also informed me that they had a 357 under their seat, so they weren't too worried. I don't know why, but anyways, no big deal. I guess the mention of a 357 was supposed to let me know who they were or who they were connected to or something. I don't know. So there's that part of it. And then her mentioning about somebody in one of the branches of the services and how proud she was of him. So whatever. Then there's after that, somehow I missed my stop and ended up about a half an hour or so north of where I was supposed to go. So I get back on the road and hitchhiking. This guy comes walking up to me. We chat a bit. His conversation was really, I won't go into what it was about, but it was something you just don't talk to somebody that just, you don't even know who they are. You know, especially if you're thinking about doing something illegal. So we get picked up by this Marine Corps Reserve MP, like a Crown Victorian. I get in the front seat, the passenger seat, and on the floor is a bunch of communications equipment. And she's got a 16-tone or 16-digit keypad in her hand. It's a digital thing, and it links into this communications equipment. And she's punching it in at all the mile intervals at certain exits and stuff, you know, checking in or whatever. During that time, she explains how she delivers pizzas. Pizza is a slang for a disc, right? So here we got people delivering discs to Canada and then down south, and somehow I end up in both, calling it two opposite directions. So there's a lot more to that ride. I mean, there was some more interesting ride. There was another ride, and then there was some other stuff that went down, and then the guy, and then this, and then that, and then somebody else felt they needed to leave. They were worried. All this other stuff went down. So okay, some about a little brother, some about their whatever and whatever and whatever. Well, figured out what that was about. And, well, that's why I'm really upset. Because I understand things happen and all that other stuff, but after you've been targeted as a revenge target kind of thing because somebody put the blame on you, and then all these other things, and then you end up basically being victimized by both ends of it. I can understand why they would want to do what it is they did to me, to whomever these people are or whatever. Yet at the same time, they must have really did something far and beyond what I know, because 20 years of just this part of it, yeah, there's several different levels of this and layers. I'm talking about the reason why I basically live in poverty, among other things, and it's way beyond any thoughts of revenge, because at this point, those that did the harms to me unjustly really should make their part right quickly. I don't care what you do to them, really. That's between you and them. But the other parts, those that blah blah, well, if you get anything from them, make them give whatever they have to me for you, whatever with them. Because I figure they owe me all these years that they've taken from me. 20, at least. Just for this group. Just for Northern California. You guys owe me 20 years. Now, 20 years at an IQ above the superior range. 20 years of somebody that, even when they were somewhat incapacitated, scored within the top 2% of the entire United States of America in abstract reasoning, and then they couldn't really gauge my stuff, so they also had to put that in as a footnote. Like, we really aren't sure where he is, but he's way above this. He's at least here, and we're being modest. Oh, and his psychological profile, well, according to this, he is a perfect leader, especially on the world stage, and/or a religious leader. He would make a perfect officer. He's the type of guy that would follow orders as well as go against them if he had to protect his men, or to protect those that were giving him the orders. Like, hey, you're going to ask me to do something really stupid and it's going to come back on you. And you really don't want this to come back on you, for one. For two, you really don't want to do this because this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to cause. And these are the wrong people to do it to. Now, if you want to do this to this group over here that deserve it, as well as it would get the desired response from them based on their sociological crap. So you see, those are some of the reasons why I tested in those areas, is because it's just my natural way of thinking. You can't learn it. You can go to all the seminars you want. You can go to all the fucking classes on leadership and ways of manipulation and coercion and whatever. You know, you can go to all the officer candidate schools, all of the fucking ROTC, all of the military schools, all the hippie communes. Go learn from the Native Americans, and that asshole, I think he might have drained my lighter yesterday when he had it. No, maybe not. Yeah, see, that bothers me. I sit there and I go, you know, these people like doing little petty things just to annoy people, so every time I notice something that seems petty, and it's just happens sometimes, I wonder if somebody helped it along. You ever have a tire go flat very slowly? And then you pull off the cap and you see a little pebble in there. No little annoyances. But at least that little pebble lets you know that you pissed somebody off. Yet it also lets you know that whoever you pissed off has enough respect for you and your life and your property to have done something as pretty close to harmless as that. Because yeah, you go to bed, your tires are full, and then you come up and the tire's nearly flat. And then when you go to put air in it, it's like, how'd this little pebble get in there? There's a lot of people that know those things. Anybody that's read Tom Brown Jr.'s books will find that in his books. So it's not like I'm giving any big secret of how to screw with people away. And it's not like I learned it from people that are bad people. Because Tom Brown Jr. is one of the world-renowned tracking and scouting instructors, teaches special forces and all that other stuff. So if people want to seek revenge, you guys have really gone after the wrong guy. And by now you know it. I don't care if you're trying to save face and whatever, and some people might be upset with you. I think you making it right is a lot better of an option. Because now, you guys made me do this, so now whoever it is you're pissed off at is probably a little worried. And probably has already been looking into or planning their route of escape or many other things. Who knows? I don't know. I never wanted to play in your playgrounds, but you guys kind of tied me up and threw me on your playground. And I kept trying to tell you I'm too big for your swings. Kept trying to tell you unless you're harming the children, you really don't have anything to worry about from me. You could talk all your revolt stuff. You could talk about how you want to become your own nation and sovereignty and all that other stuff. Hey, right on. This is America. That's what America's all about, isn't it? You have the right to choose. If you want to separate yourself from everybody else and live according to your own stuff, buy a big enough piece of property and go live in the middle of it. And leave everybody out of it, because once you start bringing people in that don't want to be part of your stuff, that's when you start getting the attention of law enforcement or even the military. So, I tried telling you 20 years ago what I didn't know and what I knew or know is almost irrelevant. Because even if I didn't have the amnesia that was induced by the guys that set this into motion so that they can run off scot-free laughing their fucking asses off at the game they played on everybody. How do you know those two groups weren't in on it? The one seeking revenge and the one they're going revenge after. Well, what happens if the guy standing next to him was the guy that did what they put on my shoulders, which would make him part of what happened? You think a Navy pension comes close to the money they've made? The street cred they garnished? Really think about it. These are questions I ask all the time in my little pea brain. Would they do this? Because it seems a bit overboard for revenge. Doesn't seem like I have that fear that I really pissed somebody off, but some people for some reason think I did. How do I know how that feels? Well, I've seen it. I've projected that kind of emotion before. Have you ever projected something at somebody that you were just going to rip their throat out? Just that complete, nearly hatred feeling towards somebody. You ever have that? I can admit that. You know why I can freely admit it and not feel like I'm going to be labeled as some kind of nut job, revenge-seeking, anger-monger, fucking monkey let's go rageful on somebody. I'm going to take all my pain out on you, asshole. Because I'm not, I don't have to fear that. How do I know I'm not? Well, go through elementary school shitting your pants. Then go through junior high school shitting your pants. And then all it takes is a few gym classes in high school. While being homeless for parts of your childhood with your mom. While being homeless in your adult life at times. While trying to survive and scrape things together because somehow you don't qualify for all these nice little disability packages people get, the voc rehab and stuff. See, I didn't get that until, 92, 93, when they finally gave me some kind of check in the mail with medical and all that. Before that, it was Medi-Cal, which is the California Public Health welfare, to pay for, state health insurance. And what's called GA, which is $300 a month worth of vouchers. I think they give you $25 voucher thing that you can cash the check in order to get your deodorant and your soap and stuff. So, I've had to make a life starting from nothing with my birth defect on several occasions, and rely on the kindness of strangers, as well as sit there and wonder, how could one person have such bad luck? How can one person always have these people blaming him for things going wrong or something happening or whatever? 20 people leave the toilet seat up, and you figure, okay, they want their seat up in this household, so you go ahead and leave it up. Next thing you know, somebody's screaming at you. Like that. So, Northern California, your Jim Jones tactics, I'm gonna fuck them up. And it ain't out of revenge. It's out of being annoyed. I'm really annoyed about it. Yeah. You want to know why it annoys me so much? It's because the more you practice on me, the more you do it to others, the more in denial about reality you become. The more your arrogance makes you blind to noticing when we are sitting there going, do you really think we don't notice? So yeah, we all can make all the excuses we want. I had a bad childhood. I was abused. Whatever. So did I. Mine was actually a lot worse. Just, I didn't give in. I didn't break. What did they have to do? They had to stick me in a chair with needles. Hundreds. With electricity going to them. Imagine trying to get out of that contraption. I had literally left my body and floated around. Because anytime I moved, maybe I should have went into acting. So, that's why this all bothers me a bit. Is because there were a lot of people that would not have guilt trips. Not be upset with me because of their guilt trip. So part of this is to let them know, hey, you know what? Direct the guilt trip at the people that fooled you into doing this. They're the ones that caused it. If I would have just taken my own life or did something else and just solved all this problem for you guys, and I would have went away, the problem wouldn't have went away with me. Do you understand now? Yeah. That's why I put myself in psych wards whenever I felt homicidal, suicidal. Because the only time I ever will think of harming myself is to prevent myself from crossing that line of rage. It's the truth. That's why guys like me usually will hit a wall. Or what I like to do is, you know, those little street signs with the thick aluminum, like smacking those. Just whack! See the metal bend from a fucking slap. Yeah, I think my slaps are harder than my punches. That's from more of a whipping kind of form, I guess, I picked up somewhere that I don't remember. It really bothers me that I don't remember a whole lot about that stuff. Little flashes here and there. The problems with those flashes is it could be a lot of things. It could even be implanted memories. What I do know is a lot of people were trying to figure out who I worked for, what I worked for, who trained me, all this stuff. Maybe I was the trainer. Maybe the people I worked for were way above your heads. And then you look at me and go, well, what do you got? It's not important, is it? What's important is I'm not supposed to, during that whole time, I wasn't supposed to really settle down much. I wasn't really supposed to gain any roots. Just kind of a lot of fact-checking, information gathering, observation, getting a clear understanding and layout of things while letting the environment direct me to what I needed to go look at. Yeah, I know it sounds a bit weird, especially if they're herding you into places to keep you naive and all this other stuff. On your way into a prison, you can see the guard towers, right? On the way into a prison, you can see what they're armed with, right? On the way into a prison, you also know how they transport you there, right? If you're going to do a jail break or a prison break, you got to figure out how you're going to get the blueprints or some kind of map of the place, right? But what if you know, because you're the same way, that if you did make a map or a blueprint, you'd change a few things on it in case somebody decided they were going to use that to break people out or break in. So knowing that, I guess they didn't really expect that, because it's really counterintuitive, especially if you're a high value individual. I hate bringing all that up, because who am I, you know? I look at it like I'm nobody without everybody. So what's the point in just being an inclusive bastard or an all of whatever? I figure if one's left out, I don't want to be a part of it. If it's just because you don't like the way they smell, the way they look, their skin color, their hair color, their eye color, they remind you of your abuser or whatever. See, that's one thing I realized is some times what that is you might remind people of their victims. You know, I get a kick out of people's psyops, especially when it's obviously Jonesish. So that's all good. People can do the whole guilt by association with me all they want, and guilt by association of other people into it all they want. The thing is I'm going to shut you down. Your little breeding programs are going to be shoved up your asses. Or I could just do what you guys did. Maybe I can go recruit some of your daughters into being hookers. How's that sound? Would that be more appropriate that I just go, okay, I'm not going to win this one. I might as well go along to get along and be part of the crowd. Why should I go find my daughters and use them? What? Because you guys do? I hope not. I mean, I don't even know who I'm really talking to right now, and I'm alright with that. It's just I'm trying to put a lot of this into context as well as paint the picture as graphically as possible without painting something that is not there. As far as reptilians go, well, from what I understand, that's a British intelligence term. I think it has to do with their knocks and some funds, you know, a lay low fund, it's getting cold out fund, go stay warm somewhere, shed your skin, I don't know. So when David Icke talks about reptiles, sometimes I wonder if that's what he's talking about is that. Like I said, I don't really care about people's secrecy anymore. Nobody cared about mine. Nobody cared about respecting me ever. I don't remember very many moments of actual respect being paid in any humanistic way, other than up until they got paid or some story was told to them, and then all of a sudden they're trying to trick me up every which way. Or they think I think I'm better than them. It's like, no, just because I don't do what you do, you're judging me because you think I'm going to judge you when you haven't even told me all the stuff you do. You know, if you're a bully and then you find out I don't like bullies, then maybe you need to figure out how to not be my friend anymore without causing a big drama. I mean, I understand a bully can't just outright admit to being a bully, especially when he's an adult or she's an adult, right? But at least you can just distance yourself, right? It's probably why I don't go take martial arts anymore. I gave up looking for any dojo or anything, is because my skin was rubbed so raw because of the bully types that if I walk into a dojo and somebody says they think they can take me, or they start bragging about training Navy SEALs, it's not a dojo for me. Might be for other people to put them in a mindset of that training. For me, a lot of it's meditation. A very fast-moving meditation when I do it. It's not... I don't know how to explain all that. But that's really what it all amounts to for me. Is I hear a lot of people shallow. Once you break the surface, you find out that there's nothing but mud and silt underneath that quarter-inch of water. And it stinks. So, what I can also say is 1997, there was a big power shift in a certain group, several certain groups, but it started before that. And the guilty parties know exactly who and what I'm talking about. Or at least the ones high up do. Which, I don't know, they like to sit across a room every now and then feel smug because they don't think I see them. You know? And that's probably why I don't sit in coffee shops and such. Or other places that a few of them might regularly be at. Yet I can't always go on what I notice. I like scientific methods in certain areas. Tempered with spiritual, of course. So, about the implants. I guess that's what this video is going to be all about. Here it is at 40 minutes, and wow, time flew again. I hope I said something important and just didn't ramble on about sociological blah 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 and psyops and blah blah and "ooh, I'm gonna get you." You know, I don't like doing that. It kind of, it's like, why can't we all just get along? Because trust me, even if you get the first whatever in the zinger, blah 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 blah, I always get the last one. It's a gift. Really, it is. It's a gift. It's not something you could just teach somebody. It's, I guess sometimes you are born with it. Sometimes you just gain it because life requires you to have certain gifts to survive and keep those around you alive. Evolution. You know, what's it look like? This is probably what a lot of, they say, as far as the human species goes, a lot of your grandkids are going to look like me. Not because I'm the dad, just because the more the races intermix, the more you're going to end up with people with my same skin tone or color and hair, the whole 9 yards. Maybe a little darker, maybe a little lighter, blue hair, blonde eyes here and there. You know, for me, it's not about touting that as any racial superiority, unless you consider the fact that if somebody has weaknesses and strengths of all the different racial types, those weaknesses and strengths would balance one another to where the weaknesses would no longer be weaknesses and those strengths would not be domineering or the main focal point because you have so many other strengths or abilities or insights, or you can eat more types of food without having problems. So yeah, I guess I could argue against all the racial purists out there that think that they're going to create a super race. Yeah, I think it's funny that they think their mind, it's like, well, you probably have little speakers in your ears. What happens if I hit you with a taser? Anyways. Better not let any cops tase you guys, because you might lose your so-called psychic hearing. I'm sorry, I have to be an asshole sometimes, don't I? I mean, part of me is sitting here just going, that's an idea. Anybody I ever have a relationship, friendship, whatever, get close to, I'm going to tase them. Just to make sure that they aren't wired for sound kind of thing. You know, it's like, hey, look at me when I'm talking to you. When my mouth is moving, I'm talking to you. Don't pay attention to that, because you never know. Somebody might piggyback on your little signal and feed you a bunch of misinformation that you think is coming from my brain. Do I sound paranoid? I'm just being realistic, you know. I mean, there's so many different forms of that. Electronic, psychic, spiritual, natural, instinctual. I prefer the instinctual. I prefer to reserve that space for emergency purposes. That's what it's for. Do you use a sword to cut your steak? You know, like a 3, 4, 5 foot blade. Because if you're misusing these other things, then you need to start using a sword to cut your food with. At least learn how to use such a large blade with such a sharp edge properly and delicately. Because then when you can use that delicately, maybe you can just willy-nilly whirl your gifts around as well. Yeah, you know how good martial artists can really go buck wild with a sword and not scratch you once. You can also do buck wild and you become ribbons. So, you know, if you're that adept with those tools, then maybe you need to start carrying yourself as something of that stature rather than just being animalistic with your gifts. Because I don't appreciate animals trying to present themselves as something they're not. You guys want to call me an animal? Well, we could have let you know the truth a long time ago, but that would have made you feel bad, wouldn't it? So really, the next time you're looking down at somebody or assuming that they're the savage or the animal, you need to go look in the mirror and ask yourself, where are you acting the animal? Where are your instincts just out of whack? See, mine, well, I guess I instinctually grab a cigarette and light it. Oh, is that an instinct or is that a habit? My father formed the instinct of getting drunk when you want to rip somebody's throat out of me, kind of thing. It's not really an instinct, it was a trait that I picked up. It was a sin of my father delivered upon me. To remedy that sin, to sever that cycle, all I have to do is not drink. Not that much, is it? But when you got to deal with all these people that do much, oh my goodness. And you sit there and you look at them like, if I picked the same tools up you're using, I would use them with great efficiency. That's partially why I do not. Because I know that my life would be consumed by that. It'd be like Scarface at some point. Say hello to my little friend. A bunch of coke in front of me, thinking I'm some kind of god, going, oh yeah, look at this big pile of coke in this gun, this makes me better than you. Have you ever seen people wrapped up in that whole power trip? And you wonder, when is somebody going to tell that person? When when is somebody going to at least treat that person like they are acting? Yeah, I tried so many different ways to express what's going on, to let people know without having to be so telling of it all. But hey, you could just go watch a bunch of spy movies and learn enough to have fun, I guess. Me, I'd watch those movies and I go, wow, I didn't know I knew that. Wow, I didn't learn that. I thought I only knew that. And I wondered, well, I figured if I knew that, then these others knew that because, well, they've been doing this for a long time and there's a lot of them. So I'm sure whatever I can think of, somebody else is already, oh, what they're doing in that movie. Whoa, that's scary. I didn't know they were allowed to do that. Oh, yeah, they have all those advisors on movies from the military, right? I don't know. Just a few thoughts there. Oh, Alex Jones. Been kind of talking some smack about him the past couple days because, well, I joined his forum like a year or so ago, and I got these x-rays that really showed the implant. And I went ahead and I was going to post them on the forum and say, hey, I've been looking for help. This cover up, blah blah blah. This and no records, nobody even done this, that, and it was just very to the point. Not even as long as as much as I'm saying on this one video here. It wasn't really anything to be that concerned of, other than the evidence itself. I guess that's what really scared Alex. So why wouldn't he want somebody, or at least that evidence? Even if you just, do this, get your head back on right, calm down a little bit, we're going to help you out. I'm going to get in contact with the doctor I know and a lawyer, and they're going to check into a few things. If you don't mind, if you can give us permission, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'd have been like, okay, all right, let's see, how's this going to go? All right, we're in for a roller coaster ride. Do I trust these people or not? How come somebody like Alex Jones didn't offer that? Instead, he just deleted my thread, deleted my account. And yeah, a couple weeks ago, I did try to start another account. I was completely honest about everything. I didn't go into details. I just gave my same name and all that other stuff to sign up for the account. I don't know, well, I guess they don't want me on their forum. I'm alright with that because there are people that check out more than one source. I'm one of those kind of people. I still watch Alex's stuff, of course, because I don't think he's completely foolish and wrong and everything. But I do wonder about his intention and his agenda, and if he's being some elitist little punk. Because my hair's too long. Oh, you don't like that I might smoke weed instead of drinking? That I see through sugar-coated wannabe hippies that made a lot of money and all of a sudden they think they're gods. Is it because I don't fearmonger and say, hey, here's an underground house, go live in it, you'll be safe? Do those things protect you from floods and earthquakes, Alex? I want to know that. Do they? Two things that would be hard for the government to cause or for an individual such as myself to cause, right? Oh, but if all of a sudden an earthquake happens and your new bomb shelter or whatever is crumpled like a tin can, or a flood comes and it floods it out, or you go in it and then it floods and you can't get your door open because then you'll flood it out and you don't know whether you'll survive the pressure and all that other, I don't know, whatever. I'm sure you could survive a flood at least. But, yeah. sure all of a sudden you'd say the government caused the earthquake. It's never you. It's never those like you that God is saying, hey, you need to recheck your facts, you need to change your path, you need to retool your thinking. But if something happened to me, I'm sure you'd be like, oh yes, it's God striking him down. Oh man. When I stub my toe, I sit there, what was I just thinking? What was I planning on doing? God just stopped me from sitting. Watch where you're walking, Joel. Do you do that, at least, Alex Jones? I guess I'm picking on you because you're number one, because you have the loudest voice in these circles, because you have contacts, yet you have not done a thing. And why haven't you done a thing? Because it's dangerous. It's too dangerous for you, isn't it, Mr. Alex Jones? You scared of me? You scared of the baggage I might bring with me, the truths that might come out, and you don't know if you can handle that kind of attention from, who is it, the NSA you're so afraid of? How do we know you don't work for the NSA? How do we know you aren't Michael Aquino's little buddy? These are questions, not accusations, by the way. And these questions came up due to basically your reaction to my x-rays being posted on your forum, and your lack of even acknowledging that I exist. Seems like a big circle that you guys don't acknowledge. Why? It's because the last play of the game means the game's over. Sooner or later, time runs out. This ain't a baseball game, guys. More like a football game. Football games have times, right? And well, I'm leading by a lot, and so you can't say we have to go in overtime due to a tie. You know, your excuses are just amazing. And I could wrap metaphors around it and explain what's going on in so many different ways that sooner or later just about everybody will be able to see through the illusions. I'm not saying your intentions are bad, Alex Jones. I'm not saying you have an agenda. I'm just saying your actions show something going on. But I don't even know if you see it. Because you're caught up in religious fervor. You're caught up in, let's get this roll. Oh, sponsor. Bomb shelters. Oh, you might be a sponsor. Oh, you might be a... You're trying to get a bomb shelter built for yourself for free. And you're hoping they'll take your offer of a few commercials as payment for that bomb shelter. Do you like money that much, Alex? Do you? I mean, because that's really what it's starting to look like. A lot of it's starting to look ego-based. I just watched the Young Turks thing about you, and you ranting about being number one. Seems almost sociopathic, sir. You don't mind me calling you sir, do you? And, I hope you take this as more of a concern, more as a human being. Say, hey bro, what's up? You doing alright? Have you ever had time to really just sit and look within and contemplate how and why your decisions are what they are? I have my entire life. I've had to. Why? Because, well, as you know, kids can be cruel, and adults are even crueler. At least a kid will tell you that, hey, you smell like crap. Did you step in dog shit? Oh, you shit your pants? Why? You shit your pants? You're lazy. And then after I give them a fat lip or explain to them, it's done and over with. Usually the fat lip would come after the explanation, and they kept screwing around because then they thought I could just be victimized. Then they realized, wait a second, this guy ain't just no victim. So I had to stop giving fat lips because, well, I'm always the one that got in trouble because, well, I'm the one that crapped my pants, right? So obviously it was my fault. So yeah, I understand what it's like to be re-victimized for things over and over and over again. Might be why I intimidate some men and why they gang up on me. Because of the women they victimized, I must remind them in some way of a very, very strong yet kind of pissed off woman that won't tolerate that crap. I remember back in the day when people used to say, oh, well, she dresses like she wanted to be raped anyways. Remember that? Don't dress like a whore and you won't be raped. The men that say things like that are the ones that I usually have severe problems with. Before you even know I have problems with them. Because they have a problem with me. That's usually how I find out what kind of man they are. Or woman. It's equal opportunity nowadays. So now that I gave a little sociological rant and sounded like a know-it-all asshole for a while, who's sane, really? Me or Alex Jones? I might go smoke a big fat joint after this. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to go over to my buddy's house and contribute to making the local environment a better place by being an example, yet also by being human, by showing all my little imperfections and frailties and bullshit, by being a mouthy asshole if I have to be at times, or by being that quiet guy that makes you wonder what he's thinking. That's why I kind of stopped being the quiet guys. I got tired of people worrying, people asking. That guy kind of scares me. He's got that look. What looks that? The look of a killer. Oh wow. Well, at least it's not the look of a murderer. Thank God for that. Some food for thought. I hope I've helped. It's October 2nd. So, yeah, it's a good day to do something like this. I hope Alex Jones has some answers, because I'm sure he's going to watch my next video, because I noticed that guys like him tend to come up with stuff that I put on my videos, usually within a couple days. I've watched somebody wait a year before, and then when I go silent for a little bit, all of a sudden they're sometimes it's almost verbatim. And, you know, I kind of gave up keeping track of all that because, well, you can drive yourself nuts trying to keep track of some things other people are doing. You know, whatever. So now I gotta go pee-pee really bad. Well, because I drank a cup of coffee and I've been sitting here for an hour yammering on. Well, I'm not really sitting here being blah, blah, blah. There I go blabbing, trying to make small talk, trying to say, hey, you know, I would rather just